This is ATR's reviews, from anime to figures and beyond. Hey, this is ATR and welcome to another episode of ATR's Toy Reviews. The Age of Extinction series of toys was just released this past weekend in Singapore, and despite my initial misgivings with regard to the simplified transformations, I still got quite a number of them that you see before you, such as Grimlock, Scorn, Slug, Slash, Strafe, and Drift, whom we will be taking a look at today. To start off, here he is in his Bugatti car mode. I have absolutely no knowledge about cars at all, so I'll let those who are more knowledgeable than me comment on its fidelity. It's sleek, it's sporty, it's cool, and it does what it's supposed to do in that it rolls around. There have been some complaints regarding the shade of blue that has been used, and I would be lying if I said that I couldn't see the problem. But Hasbro has been using more flashy colors with recent toy lines, so there's really nothing that can be done. Drift comes with 4 swords and they can all be stored within his car mode, 2 katanas that store under him, and 2 shorter katanas, or I suppose wakizashis that store within the car itself. I will show how these peg in during the transformation process. Speaking of the transformation, let's get right down to it. First off, we remove the 2 swords from under the car. We rotate these 2 panels up and pull the arms out. We then collapse this, fold down this rear part of the car, and this will give us enough clearance to pull out this panel. And this is where the wakizashis or smaller katanas are stored under the car mode, or in the car mode. Let's remove those for the time being. We collapse the bonnet of the car, fold in the bonnet of the car, rotate this entire panel around, collapse this panel, and fold out this tiny little connector piece. We fold down the front of the car, and this will pop out the head, bring the head all the way up, and connect this piece to the peg on the back of the neck. And last but not least, we finish up with the legs. We split them apart, fold the feet down, angle this back and fold this piece in, and we do the same for the other side. And there we go. And yes, all 4 swords can be pegged into his back or held in his hands. The transformation process is fun and intuitive, but the incorrect placement of some of the joints, such as the knee joints in particular, could wind you up with a gappy or uncooperative vehicle mode. Now, I have to say that I'm a rather big fan of Japanese culture, and that might make me somewhat biased, but I do really like this robot mode. The armor panels that get revealed during the transformation process do serve to portray his samurai mode exquisitely. Right off the bat though, the car panels on his back are obtrusive, and it would have been nice to have seen some better integration. Until I can actually see him transform in the movie, I can't say for sure how accurate he is, though I doubt the hood will hang off his butt. His wheels don't seem to be placed in his shoulder pads either, but it's admirable that they managed to hide it as well as they did. Some other pros include the fact that the front of the car is the actual chest, unlike the Evasion Mode Optimus Prime, and the swords are made of actual hard plastic, which is a really nice change from the soft plastic weapons that we've been getting. Articulation wise, his head is on a ball joint. It can move up and down, rotate 360 degrees, and even move side to side a little bit this way as well. It's only somewhat hindered by his long chin. His arms can move forwards and backwards and side to side, and interestingly enough, this is really cool, his shoulder pad or shoulder armor is separately articulated from the rest of his arm. He has a ratchety joint, elbow joint, it moves forwards and backwards, and there's a swivel joint in his elbow that can move side to side. His wrist can only move side to side this way, and there isn't a swivel joint, unfortunately. As for his legs, they can move forwards and backwards, in and out, and as you can hear, this is actually a ratchet joint. There is a thigh swivel, though the armor design does hinder his thigh articulation as it collides with his waist. And he does have a really nice knee joint, but due to the car kibble, it can only bend about this much. If we push this back and raise this up, he can get even more knee articulation. And last but not least, his foot can move forwards and backwards, but that's pretty much due to the transformation. While Drift is not supremely articulated, I was surprised to see how many poses I could get him into and how dynamic he looked. Despite the lack of wrist joints, I could get him to hold his swords anywhere I wanted. Being separately hinged, his shoulder armor moves out of the way and is hardly a hindrance. In conclusion, out of all the figures that I've purchased, Drift is by far the most satisfying. He looks great in both modes, poses exceedingly well, and is a samurai to boot. Yes, he does suffer from some kibble and inaccuracy issues, but I don't think they are deal-breaking by any stretch of the imagination. Here's hoping that we get a bigger and more advanced figure of him down the road. This is Sector saying, see you guys in the next episode.